Finding the Voices.
Talk show by Monica Igudan.
I'm a huge fan of Finding the Voices.
You're doing a great job for Manipur.
Manipur bu prithivida masatak pa
good positive voices and make those voices more visible.
We wanted our voice to reach in all the corners of the world.
Interesting people.
Finding voices on
people from our own place.
Share positive stories and inspiring stories and bring out the good stories of Manipur.
Finding the Voices.
Welcome to Finding the Voices. Right now we are at Delhi and we have a special guest speaker, Mr. Khaute Ginlal Chung Vaiphei, originally from Churachandpur and right now an executive officer in Lok Sabha Secretariat in Delhi. Welcome to our show.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here.
So first of all, if you can share a brief introduction about yourself.
Yeah, in fact, I'll introduce myself. Well, I'll start from my father. My father was the eldest among his siblings, and we are basically from Churachandpur. And then there was no Christianity at that time.
Okay.
And then, of course, with the advent of Christianity, there was a Western education. My father, since he was the eldest, he was denied education.
Oh.
And
okay.
His younger siblings were given education, but my grandparents didn't allow him because he was the first son, the eldest. His name was, required to be used in the rituals.
Okay.
So he could not give his name in the school or in the church.
Oh.
So he was a bit deprived. Yeah. But somehow he managed to self-educate him using my uncle's textbooks in the school. So he was a self-made man, and then I am his son. I mean to say that it is God's grace that we got education in spite of the setback suffered by my father.
So before he became a Christian, like what did you follow? What did you follow?
It is like that the traditional religion.
Okay.
Perhaps we may call it the animism.
Okay.
Yeah, they have so many. They also have a concept of God and different gods.
Okay.
And then there was different rituals, sacrifice, and even theories.
Okay.
Yeah, they have their own metaphysics also. I mean to say the theory about God and then theory about paradise.
Okay.
And all this. But thanks to the gospel of Jesus Christ, like the people change, and then the social fabric also changed, and that is very prominent in my family.
Okay.
Especially in the life of my father.
How so?
In the sense that before, when he was a young lad, perhaps, he was a favorite of the priest in the village because he's got some kind of ability to be accessed with the previous God, in the sense that if somebody is not well, sick in the village, they want to know whether this sick person is caused by which a specific spirit or demon, and they want to know whether this sick person will recover or not.
Okay.
And then my father used to get revelation after some rituals from the priest, and my father used to get revelation in the night, and the next day he used to
he used to
share that one.
Then how did he change, and how did he?
Yeah, eventually as he grows up, he was quite rational. His belief in the traditional religion and the practice of rituals became not very convincing to him. So, and when he was grown, he could take his own decision about for his own life. So he started switching on to the other religion, and at that time my grandparents didn't have much say over his life anymore.
Okay.
And unfortunately, apart from that, my grandfather passed away very early.
Okay. Okay. So he had to take the responsibility for your family.
Right.
Okay.
And then so my father accepted the new religion that came. So, and there was a tremendous change.
Okay. So is that change like in your village?
Yeah, there was a change. My father told me there was great change, and even the villages were divided into two groups also. Not sectarian enmity was there, but like the Christians and the non-Christians.
Okay.
Though they live in the though they live in the same village.
Okay. So tell me about your childhood.
That way I started. So then that were in the remote hills. So my father, after getting married, told my mother, if we continue to live in the hills, our children will not be able to have education.
So at that time there was no school in Churachandpur?
There was no school in the remote village in Churachandpur. My parents belonged to the deeper villages in Churachandpur.
What is the name of the village?
That is Lung Chuang. They call Lung, yes.
Okay.
And then there was only one school, missionary school in Churachandpur, Mission Compound Churachandpur.
Okay.
That's where my uncles were also, they got their first education. So my father told my mother, before we are born, that we need to go down to the hill, to the plains, where there's a school, closer to the school.
So, if I understand you correctly, at that time, of course now there are government school, but at that time there was absolutely no government school in the hills except for that mission school.
Yeah, Mission Rostad Memorial High School.
And that's why you say that because of the Christianity, there are chains, because education, you feel that education was brought and introduced in your village by them.
Definitely.
And they showed a different world which your village people have not seen.
No.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So I am born in that mission compound, the place where the first missionary school was there.
Okay.
Rostad Memorial High School in Mission Compound. That is where I belong to. That is where that village I was born.
Okay.
And then that was the most prominent high school in the district.
Okay.
I was studying in that Rostad Memorial High School till class 5.
Okay.
That was since elevated place. Mission Compound is a beautiful place.
Okay.
And there are 3 main hostels. People from the hills used to come, and they used to be there in the 3 gentlemen hostels.
Okay.
And then there was a one woman girls hostel.
Girls hostel.
And then it was a town. Very different, a small village, very different, with all the facilities of medical. Before this, government has instituted that public health department as a village health center. Before that, there was a health center there in that village, and then a school and a big church. And the village was not headed by the chief of the village, but headed by the superintendent of the mission compound.
Okay.
In a modern way.
Okay, got it. Got it.
So that was the beginning, and after that we have shifted into the proper Churachandpur, and then I got my education from another school, that is Children Training High School. I completed my matriculation from that school, and at the time there was no higher secondary, class 11-12 system was not there.
Okay.
And then this
was also a Christian school?
Yeah, that was a Christian school.
Okay.
Run efficiently according to the most likely like the convent school, but not religiously committed so much. But that was quite prominent.
Education.
Yeah, quite prominent in the town at that time.
So after your metric, you did all your education in Churachandpur, then after that what happened?
Yeah, well, that was also small struggle time of retrospection from my side also. All my friends, they went to other states, across the states. I mean, they crossed the boundary to get better education in the class 11, 12 level. Some went to, most of them went to Patkai Christian College, Nagaland, near Dimapur. Yeah,
okay.
That was very, very prominent at the time, popular. And then the luckier ones, they could go to Shillong, and very few, very few could go to Delhi at that time. And I was left behind. I really realized that I need to study hard, and you know, I was really becoming more keen to study after my matriculation. Till high school, I was not very serious. I was like, I was so happy with my friends and my cousins, and we played football every afternoon, and all this. Those were the fun part that has consumed most of my, you know, life. Thought and mind at that time. But after matriculation, I want to study seriously. There was no proper college. There was Churachandpur Government High School giving us the only, you know, education after 10 in the district.
Okay.
And as you know, at the time, there were the infrastructure was okay, but I'm sorry to say, but many of them would admit also, the lecturers. There are only 10% were very regular,
So
and the rest were, you know,
there, but the teachers were not there.
yeah. Only there are, you know, but I don't want to, you know, do away with that good ones. There are very few good lecturers.
Okay.
Who used to come regularly to take class. I was having great hunger. We kept on waiting, you know. We kept on waiting for our class, even, you know, for 1-2 hours.
But the teacher didn't turn up.
Yeah, but the teachers didn't turn up.
So this is one of the issue I think people have spoken, but we want to re-emphasize again. So there, now that there was infrastructure in your village, there is the infrastructure, there are teachers, but then you saw that the teachers, not all 100% of the teachers were not in attendance.
No.
And the student had to wait.
We had to wait, and sometimes,
and
you
so
know,
your
they won't turn
aspiration
up.
for education was not fulfilled.
Not fulfilled. And there was another small district library of a one room in this small room. I used to go there and spend my time there to read books, and I got myself acquainted with philosophy. That philosophy was not there in that Churachandpur Government High School, but then I was curiosity, so like that I could get any kind of book there, you know, like I used to read there in the district library.
So you did not go out, your friends went out. Was that financial reason? Or
Yeah, definitely there was a financial reason, though my elder brother has supported my father, though my elder brother got a job in the bank, but at the time, you know, I have other siblings also.
How many siblings?
Like 3. We are 3 sisters and 3 brothers.
Okay, got it.
And so at the time I need to wait, but the beauty was that my parents and my elder brother, they could understand how much I was, you know, like enthusiastic about reading the quest, and they understood my feeling, aspirations. So one fine day, my father, my elder brother gave a word to my younger brother, and then I was there, and he told me to get ready for Delhi. Of course, it was after I completed my class 12.
Okay.
So suddenly, within a week or so, I got prepared, and then I came down to Delhi.
So you passed your class 12 in Churachandpur,
and
then you came to Delhi.
Yes, that's the progression.
All right, and then how was your experience in Delhi?
Yeah, it was good, but very few Northeast people were there at the time.
Which year was that?
Way back, 1988.
1988.
June, I reached Delhi.
At that time, like, there were not many Northeast or people from Manipur in Delhi.
No, not at all. And very few people have even telephone connection also. So we spend most of our time being lonely and being homesick.
Right.
Monica on Finding the Voices.
Finding the Voices.
Finding the Voice.
I could see my father. who came to meet my headmaster because he was unable to pay the fee. I'm sorry.
Because we need such story for people to have faith in the government, in the system, that yes, it's working.
Let's bring peace in our home state,
People
Manipur.
who have got the job without bribery, they will do justice to their job, and they will help raise the standard of Manipur.
Me machine kre hai do ai adu paraga tingogi
hai re adire wako
So how was your experience coming from Churachandpur to a big city like Delhi?
Yeah, it was good. It was a good. It was a big step, and the great leverage to my thinking, and then it was one way of fulfilling parts of my aspirations in life. So great experience, I should say.
So which college were you?
It is Zakir Hussain College.
Zakir Hussain. So at that time, now we see a lot of people talking or media portraying about racism to Northeast. But when you came, was there any? Did you face anything?
No,
people accepted you and you were comfortable.
Perhaps I was lucky, or I don't know. That was a general feeling. People were very nice, even my class. And our friends were very congenial. I mean, across different, society, culture. People, we met there, and then they are very nice and very helpful to me. Even including the teachers.
Okay.
They are very kind.
Okay.
At the time. I believe they are now also.
No, they are now also. I think there are a lot of stories, but of course we all know that the media would pick up the controversial ones and good or positive stories, will not make the news and it will not be highlighted.
Yeah,
but there are stories wherein people are coexisting and helping each other. And,
especially I need to be grateful to my classmates and my teachers.
Because coming from a far place, you being homesick, and that those times the communication was not as good as now. You still felt comfortable.
From that perspective.
Can you share about your progression in Delhi, from your studies to your job and career track?
At the time, of course, I don't know whether it'd be too personal. I was interested in philosophy, and then I studied, and of course I struggled, and I spent most of my time being homesick and thinking about home. That was my weakness, that has affected my academic performance also, I believe. But by God's grace, I completed my philosophy honors, and the same year, the same month, I got my results. That very month, unfortunately, my mother passed away. So, in fact, I was studying hard to keep my parents happy. That was my first priority. But since my mother suddenly passed away in the same month, because we have very close attachment, of course, everyone will have that kind of attachment with their mother. But it was a big blow to me, and I gave up every ambitions, worldly, secular ambitions. I was shattered.
So it took a very big toll. To yourself.
So I gave up all the ambitions and the aspirations I have for this civil services and other things. And then I just want to commit my life to serve the suffering, the suffering people, I thought. Because my mother or my father, my mother, they sacrificed a lot for my education, for me. But my mother suddenly, passed away. Because I didn't have that. That means I could not get time to repay her, to make her happy. And then, half of my purpose of life was gone with that.
So you felt that, she went before you could show her what you did, and you still had a lot of dreams and aspirations. And because she passed away, you were shattered, and you felt it was of no use.
I felt it was of no use, though my father was still there at the time. I felt that my father also would suddenly pass away, and then like that,
you felt
I felt that way, insecure. And then, they have been struggling, like the pangs of poverty was really, afflicting, tormenting the family. And then my parents, especially, they suffered so much. I want to make them,
that's okay.
happy, and then see the, some good things in life. But my mother passed away too early at the time. That has changed my perspective. So I gave up my ambitions.
Then what did you do after graduation?
So I spent most of my time, 2 years in the remote missionary schools across the Assam Arunachal border.
Okay, so you left Delhi, and
I left Delhi.
You felt that you need to go back and connect with the people.
Or connect with the people, or somehow recover, and then do things whatever I could with the small ability that I had at the time, potential, and then like that. Of course, I enrolled for MA, and then. I was offered a hostel in the North Delhi also, but I could not take it because I was away at the time. And then, without much preparation, I could not read this MA previous exams, because of the loss in the family, the loss of mother. I could not read, but somehow I used my previous knowledge where I was preparing for honors exams. I used it when somehow I could clear the MA previous, and I was enrolled in the second year. But ultimately, not only me, our family, we were all shattered because my mother was the center of the family who has pulled us together.
She was gelling all of you together, and suddenly when she's gone, you felt...
Yes. There was a kind of a chaotic situation emotionally in the family. My father, my elder brother, and all other siblings, we suffered. So it was difficult to stay in Delhi, to continue to stay in Delhi anymore. So I came back home during autumn break, and without completing my MA. And then things turned out that I served in village schools.
So you became a teacher?
Yeah, I became a teacher, teaching the children in the school.
Then what happened?
Then, of course, my pastor wanted me to go to Chicago for seminary, biblical studies. And I was reluctant. I don't want to leave India. But since he gave me the opportunity, when I was in the school, he came over. He told me that he could send me to Chicago. Then I applied, and then I've cleared, to cut short. I have cleared the TOEFL test and all, and then I waited, but I was not very keen. So somehow I didn't go ultimately. And my elder brother advised me to get a job somehow again. So that I was not bothered about getting government jobs anymore. Somehow, fortunately, I saw some openings, vacancy in the going through employment news in the Parliament Secretariat. And at the time, it was a challenge also. When I saw it, there was only 3 days from the deadline. And then
You saw the ad like 3 days prior to the deadline.
Prior to the deadline, I walked fast, and then fortunately at the time, for a brief moment, there was a courier in Churachandpur that existed for a brief moment, of perhaps 2-3 months only.
Okay.
Then I sent through that courier. Somehow it seems to reach the Lok Sabha Secretariat in time, and it was the month of February or March, and then surprisingly, out of the blue, call letter came in the month of December.
Okay.
I received it on Saturday, and then I was to give the exam on the next Sunday.
Okay, so it went pretty quick.
Yeah, pretty quick. I mean, there was a gap of February and then December, and then exams there was very close when the call letter reached me. Then I came down and I reached on Thursday, Delhi.
Okay.
And then my cousin is a scientist here. I put up with him. And Thursday I reached. That was Christmas Day also, 1997, December.
Okay.
And then Sunday I gave the exams.
Okay.
And fortunately, I don't know, interestingly, the preliminary questions for executive assistants in the post at that time, it just incidentally happens to be most of the questions were known by me.
Okay,
I don't know.
So you had prepared. It means like
it just came that way. Yeah, something. Yeah, I don't know. That was divine or
so,
God's grace.
You got all the question which you knew.
Mostly, yeah.
Okay. And then you got the job.
I got the job, the prelims, and after that, a few days time, we were given to give the mains exam. Okay. I went there without, because I could not see the prelims result also.
Okay.
But within a short time, in those days, there was the practice that within a few days time, they used to give the mains, those who were selected in the prelims. So I went and I could not see the prelims results. The crowd was so big. But I just blindly went to the mains exam center. There was a great commotion. They stole away the notice board.
Oh,
and then of course I knew that I was selected.
Okay.
I would be also, but they postponed it. Fortunately,
confident that
at the time, of course and then they postponed the exams from that December. They deferred for the March. So I came back again to Delhi from Manipur, all the way from Manipur, and then March I gave the mains exam. And fortunately, my sister-in-law, my cousin's wife, is a MA Pol Science. I didn't have any book. I used some of her old books. I prepared for a few days for the mains, and by God's grace, I could clear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is a new start of your
new
life.
Start. Yeah, but of course, I have lost how to be happy. When the result came out, I was not filled with joy or happiness, because there was, sadness, very chronic in my life.
Okay.
I didn't say I was depressed, but like that, even I have lost the art of being happy and being joyful without, of course, complaining.
Okay.
That much, like I became stony hearted, or I don't know. I don't know what it was, but that way. But that was a breakthrough.
Okay.
I didn't know that I'll be very happy at this stage with my family and all of you.
Please tune in at Finding the Voices.